We're now moving into the cash flow levers that are based on timing. And the first of these is creditor days. The measurement of creditor days is the average number of days that you take to pay your suppliers. If your creditor days are 30, then on average you take 1 month to pay your bills.
So let's look at some tips on how you can increase your creditor days, because paying later is actually better for our business cash flow. Number 1, only pay correct invoices. If an invoice comes to you and it's incorrect, query the invoice. Pay invoices on the due date, not before, unless there are significant discounts for doing so. Contact your suppliers and negotiate the best payment terms possible. This particularly works well if you are actually a big user of their product. So if you represent a big customer for them, they're more vested in keeping you happy. Choose payment methods that incur less fees. If your product is a component for your customer, negotiate that the end customer is responsible for the supply of and payment for the materials. Use credit cards. If you pay your invoice on the last possible day using your credit card, you can extend the time that this will fall due. Now let's have a look at some case examples.
When distilling boutique alcohol, there can be quite some time between purchasing materials and when the product is ready to go on the shelf. In some cases, it is years. Creating favourable supply terms to make the best use of the creditor days available means that the costs for materials used to produce the alcohol don't fall due as soon as they might otherwise. In the example of solar panels, a solar panel installer, paying a supplier of panels after installation and after customer payment instead of paying for the product up front has a significant difference on cash flow. Conversely, the customer could pay for the product, taking over responsibility for the supply. Whilst some business coaches train in face-to-face settings, more and more are moving to a webinar-based group coaching model, many as part of a coaching network. For a business coach, a trade supplier or creditor may include a master licensor for the materials they use.
So now let's have a look at how this impacts in our Power of One. In this business, an increase in creditor days can make a difference of nearly $13,000. So by paying our creditors on average 1 day later over the month, it's worth nearly $13,000 in cash flow to our business for the month. You can see here that it would be about 15 days until pushing the cash flow back 15 days to get it into a positive cash flow position. But let's think about that realistically. While we could just delay paying things by 15 days, we want to make sure that our suppliers still trust us, or we won't be able to negotiate as favourable conditions. So keep in mind that you want to see these numbers working together and you want to make sense of these numbers. So increasing creditor days by 15 days over a month actually would push you back to a 45-day payment instead of 30-day payment. Sometimes this signals to people who might want to invest in our business that we're having cash flow issues. So you need to be very careful about how you do that. So our takeaways: make the use of payment options to extend creditor days, negotiate with suppliers, and above all, retain trust. The exercise for this section has a focus on working out how much value there may be in negotiating better terms and conditions with your key suppliers. And remember, if you want to run your own numbers through our Power of One tool, you can just click on the Power of One link in the lesson below, or you can contact hello@cashflowers.com.